A lot of listeners in there. I post there. A lot of folks post there. I get a lot of input for show topics there as well. And I posted some more videos over there just to show you what they were actually doing. They had us doing all kind of stuff, man, from from the standing position to dealing with situations where you may have to run a little bit or your close quarters. I just want to say again, shout out to the folks of Ride or Die. And they were just so gracious. They had some folks who came out who may not have been as advanced as that course was, as intended for, as they talked about when we got out there. But that just means that we got an inside track and got some more training. And the more and more I fire a firearm and I'm on the range, the more comfortable I get, and the more I realize that this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. If you wanna be ready for a situation like that, you got to get out on the range. You got to be prepared. And what I would plan to do was two things. And I'll give a brother Forte to see if this is possible. A CCW class. Maybe it's not a class that we do all by ourselves, but maybe we can, sign you up from the Nathan Ivey Show, and then you can be a part of one of their other CCW classes. I think that's something we can do. And I want to continue with the tactical training. Because like I said, as I was out there, what I realized is that I needed that. I need more of it. I need more range time. We was way, I never been out to this. We was way out in Waynesville. And as you're driving up, I'm not going to lie to you, family. I'm like, where we at here? Well, this looks strange. One of the participants called me up and was like, Nate, I don't see no black folks. I'm like, oh, Lord. But when I got out there, it was all good. Had a good time. There was a few guys who were not a part of our group who joined. They were good guys. It was very interesting and worth my time to just sit back and just watch them because they were more advanced than most of us. We had a couple people in the group that were in the more advanced categories. Hey, shout out to Nathan Ellis. Shout out to you. Deatrice, shout out to you. Miss D, shout out to you. Anthony, shout out to you. It was a good time. It's a good time overall. And I want to do more of it. I want to go back. You know what I'm saying? We were out there for about 4 hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And just shooting different positions, different scenarios. It was all a good time. So appreciate the fellas from Ride or Die, Forte and Joe. And they're very serious brothers, very serious about it, very serious about what they're doing. I mean, we're talking about life and death situations here. So it's not a game. And everyone was safe because safety is first. And I can't wait for the next time. So we'll let you know when the next time is. Maybe we can squeeze something in before the weather starts to turn. Again, I have to get with Forte. I'm just kind of spitballing here without having spoken with him and Joe about it in particular. Maybe we can make that happen. If so, again, I'll let you know, and you're more than welcome to join that class, okay? I think what we need to do, though, is we need to start with a class that's like your first pistol basic gun class, and then start moving up in difficulty and tactical training and things like that to make sure we're all in the same space, to make sure we're all at the same proficiency level, right? Because I think it'll make sure that the class goes faster. But overall, it was a good time. And I want to do more of it. Like I told you, to me, I see that as the beginning of a series, okay? It's just for anybody who has a firearm and you practice, you got to keep doing it on a regular basis, just like shooting a jump shot. Which, by the way, shout out to the Lakers. I saw they even up the series. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see somebody different come out of the NBA Finals, watch, or be in the NBA Finals. No doubt about it. But good morning to you. Can you hear me, everybody? Everybody hears me loud and clear, hopefully. Yes. I think we're good. What's up, Leon? What's up, Brandon? What's up, Tony? Yeah. Tony, I saw Tony out there. It was good to see Tony. He was out there doing his thing. What's CMT? What's up, TNT? Good to see you. Good to see you. Did you check out the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B on Friday? She was talking current events. Very entertaining, informative show. Check it out. It's up on Sin Digital Media and also the Is It Just Me podcast Facebook group. Also the Dope Chicks Collective on Sundays at 1 p.m. Timely conversations, Black women talking about the things that matters most to them. And also our community and offering some solutions. That's Sundays at 1 p.m. You can check it out. It's Sin Digital Media. Also their Facebook group, the Dope Chicks Collective as well. And more to come. Like at this point, I sit around every day thinking about how I can amplify Black voices in Cincinnati. That's what I do. That's the lane I've carved for myself. That's what I sit around doing. What voices are out there and how can we amplify them? Because this city for Black folks will never become what we want to be if we're not controlling and creating our own media. It will never happen. We have to tell our stories, create our own narratives, amplify our voices, right? And that's what time it is. And that's the mission I'm on this morning. So again, I am looking for talented people. I'm looking for comics. I'm looking for entrepreneurs. I'm looking for Black creatives that might want to join up and link up and create something special here in the city of Cincinnati. But I'll talk more about it. Lisa writes, good morning, sound is immaculate. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. We using the E word? I like it. Let me jump over here. I want to play this for you. This man, I hate to see these kind of videos, and I hate to put my people out here like this, but when I saw this, I was not happy. Have you seen this video? This video has gone what they call viral, right? I know it's viral. It's got to be viral at this point because it hit my radar screen, and a lot of choppers and other people have been sharing it. And this is a video of a young girl who is obviously dealing with some issues. Obviously, this young girl is dealing with some issues. Well, I think that's fair to say. But what I saw in this video, it just hurt my heart, man. Did you see this? This young girl right here? Now, apparently, you know, she's dealing with some issues. I mean, her father and her stepmother are in this video, and they're disciplining her. Apparently, she's been doing some not so good stuff. She's been stealing stuff and touching people and ran away from this or ran away from that. I mean, what's that tell you right there? The young girl's got some issues. But what I saw from the adults in the video, to me, is tantamount to abuse. Like, number one, what kind of parent is disciplining their child and then putting it on Facebook and putting it on social media? Who's doing this? I mean, I don't care if the behavior that you're trying to correct is like the child, and this is a child, the child's interaction on Facebook or social media. You don't do nothing like this. Where they get these people from? Where they do this at? This how you gonna discipline your child? Huh? This is crazy right here, man. I was not happy when I saw this, not even a little bit. And there is some extreme language. I want to play this for you. There is some extreme language. I'll say it again, extreme language. I might even put this up on the screen. There is some extreme language. So I know it's Labor Day. Your kids are not going to school today, so maybe you're watching by yourself on your phone or whatever. But there's some extreme language in this. And I want to make sure that you're hip to the game before we get started. You might even be at work this morning. I'm at work this morning. So you might be at work this morning. I don't know. But I was not happy. This is abuse. At one point, you see the stepmother. And let me say, I just can't, like right now, the children I'm raising them with the woman who we had the children together with. So I'm the biological father, and she's the biological mother. Okay. These are our children. And I just can't imagine if I was in a step situation where they had a stepmother and I would allow the stepmother to physically hit my child. I just don't see it. Not for something like this. Like at some point, the girl obviously is dealing with, teenagers, these teenagers, I'm telling you, medium Buddha, AKA little Buddha, she on another level. Man, people was telling me like, wait till you become a teenager, Nate. I wasn't ready. I was not ready because it was like a different person showed up in the house. I'm like, who the hell is this? Who is this person? This sweet child, this sweet little Cosby kid, little overprivileged kid growing up with their parents, Black professionals, getting everything she needs and some of the stuff that she wants. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, a teenager shows in, checks in one day. And man, it took me a second because I'm like, what? I had to check myself like, whoo, Lord, help me. Right? I had to check the wifey like, come on now. We have to be patient because it is true what they say. Now, I think every child is different, so not all teenagers are going to be the same. And little Buddha ain't like out here committing for offenses. I'm just talking about in terms of the way she talks with us. She acting like she grown. You ain't grown. This our house. We pay for all of this. You are a guest here, our child, until you get 18 and maybe sometime after you 18, depending on how you act. You better recognize, little girl. So I've had those conversations. I can imagine, depending on just the attitude and whoever these kids are, every kid's going to be different. Some of these teenagers are going to try you. And I don't know all the backstory. Apparently, this girl's been stealing money. She's been lying. She's stealing phones. She was touching her siblings or step siblings. It seems to imply maybe in a sexual way or something like that. Which I think there's some. I'm not gonna say I don't want to legitimize criminal behavior, but I think that's kind of normal on some levels. I'm just not the kind of parent that overreacts when it comes to certain things, because I remember what it was like to be a teenager, and I don't want to be unfair to my children. But what I saw in this video, number one, the fact that I can see the video is a problem off the top. You don't discipline your child on social media. You don't do that. You wrong off top. I don't care what they done. You don't put no video up, even if what you're trying to do is correct the behavior of them posting on social media, because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. If you're trying to scare your child straight from getting on social media by embarrassing them on social media, it's not gonna work. They might step away for a little bit, and whatever they was doing, they're gonna be right back on it 100%. You're making yourself look bad. You're making yourself look bad. It was just, I halfway don't even want to play this video, quite honestly, but since I'm here, I halfway don't want to play this video. There's a part in the video where they're just running this girl down about everything she ever did. And you want to on social media? And it's clear that the little girl is she might be in the wrong spot. At some point in the video, her biological father starts talking down about her biological mama. Where your mama at? That this and that, and calling her. I'm like, don't you see that might be part of the problem? Like, come on, parents. I don't care what the mom or dad has done. There's nothing that you're going to say that's going to turn them off for their parents. Whether the parents are there or not, you can have a situation where mom or dad never showed up for the kid. They still going to love their mom and dad. They might not respect them, but they're going to love their mom and dad. You got scenarios where kids are abused by parents. They still love their parents. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I've seen this before where parents, like, you have one parent just like been in the life of the child. And then the child shows some affection or voices some affection or support for the child, for the parent that's not there. And then the parent that is there gets all mad. You're going to have to check yourself, parent. It is what it is. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to turn a child away from their parent. Kids going to love their parents even when the parents are abusing them. You know what I'm saying? Kids are going to love their parents even in instances where the parents have abused. They're still going to love them. They might not respect them, but they're going to love them. So I just don't think that's a good course of action. Mom isn't there. Maybe she was on drugs. Maybe she was just, she belongs to the streets or whatever. Dad's talking with the daughter. Y'all kid together. You want to badmouth the mom. Same thing. Dad's not there. Maybe dad checked out from day one. Was never in the kid's life. Mom badmouths the dad to the kid. Never a good recipe. Never a good recipe. Because what you think you're going to do? You think you're going to make the kid not love the biological parent? It don't happen that way. It don't work. All you doing is make yourself look bad. So at one point, video, y'all, like the father, they're running down this little girl about all the things she did. And she did some stuff that's very not good, very questionable. But again, we talk about children here. Whether they 9 months, 9 years old, or 16, we take these kids. Different levels of responsibility, but these are children. And at some point, the father's like, did you call your stepmother, and I'm going to curse here, a fat bee? Did you call her a fat bee? And the stepmother's standing right there. And then she comes over and smacks the girl. And the girl gets up and runs out the garage. Now, what you smack her for? Why you smack her? So anybody to call you out your name, you smacking them? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This is some weak adult stuff. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You come face to face with a grown woman who said the same thing, you ain't gonna run up and smack her. You might try it. I don't believe it. It's weakness. The way you treat people that you don't have to treat good says a lot about you. And as I was watching this video, I can see what the problem is right now. The problem is the damn parents. Let me play this for you.
She's a liar. She's a manipulator. She does fucked up shit to people. She don't care about nobody. She don't even care about herself. Look at her.
Now that's the stepmom. That's stepmom. I'm not in that situation, so I'm trying to put myself in a situation. I just can't see it happening like that. Let's say me and the wifey break up, right? I get with another woman, I marry another woman. So she's stepmom to my kids. My daughter's over. They don't have a good relationship for whatever reason. Maybe it's a natural, clash because my daughter ain't feeling her because you ain't her mama. She want her daddy to be with her mama. Whatever the case may be. I just don't see, and again, I'm not there, so maybe the daughter has done a lot of effed up stuff. But let me get back to it.
But she was talking all that crazy shit yesterday. Look at her.
We see her.
How you feel about yourself? So what did you tell me right before this? You said what? You don't care about what? Okay. So everybody who inboxed the page that was up yesterday, that was in reference to trying to find Trinity, who ran away numerous times, we're going to lay this to rest because I don't have a reason to lie about anything. I'm a whole adult out here in these streets, okay? I care about this girl, but she has done so much fucked up shit to me, to this family, to everybody who's taken her in, to anybody who's cared about her. She's made up lies, stories, everything. You can shake your head all you want to, boo. But either you're going to tell the truth or you're going to get your ass whooped until you tell the truth because it's the real world, boo. So what's up? So what did you do to your stepsister? Huh?
I didn't touch her.
Oh, you gonna lie? You gonna lie? You didn't touch her?
No.
So what are you in court for right now? Babe, you got those papers?
I can do it.
Go get them.
Now, why are they talking about
Go get them.
personal court
to be honest with
issues
you.
and things like that? Like what kind of man allows this to happen with his child? Babe, go get him. I'm not going to get no damn court papers and put them on social media. You lost your mind? It ain't that serious. I think that maybe these are parents at their wits' end. Maybe that's what we're looking at. I'm trying to get them a little bit of measure here, but as I went through this video over the weekend, I was not happy. And in particular, I wasn't happy with the way that this man was conducting himself. Standing over here with this Drake muscle shirt on. You got all the latest fashions on. Maybe that's what the problem is. I don't know, man. I didn't like what I saw.
I wasn't on our side.
Correct? So what are you in there for, Trinity? No. What are you in there for, Trinity?
I didn't touch her.
Trinity, I asked you a fucking question. What does the paper say?
It says that I touched her.
No, it says what? What is the terminology for it, Trinity? Because you was made aware of everything.
Child molestation, right? Do you know why they charge you with that?
Sexual battery to a minor.
I didn't touch her.
And I don't even want to put my daughter on live, but girl.
So you ain't gonna put your daughter on live. It's all right there.
She has court papers.
So you ain't gonna put. I don't want to put my daughter on live, but you gonna put your stepdaughter on live. If you wouldn't do it with your daughter, you shouldn't do it with your stepdaughter. Shout out to step parents that's got that love, that understanding that it takes, because that's a situation right there, man. That's hard. You taking care of another person's time, raising another person's child. That's deep. That takes a special individual right there. Shout out to all the step parents that's doing it the right way. Because to me, if you become a step parent, then there is no line. You got to look at them like your kids. Everybody got to be treated the same. Whatever's good for your kid, that's how you treat all the kids. There can be no difference. But you ain't going to put your daughter on live to embarrass her. And maybe it's because she's the victim.
Has court coming up because she touched her stepsister numerous times. And she had to get put out of my house.
And she admitted to it, but she don't want to admit it on live.
Right.
And she admitted to it a year before we actually got the full information about it, and said that they were both touching themselves and then they started touching each other.
That sounds about right. I mean, you know, I'm not making excuses here. I don't know her age. If she was charged, but maybe it sounds like she's at least 18. But that's what kids do. That's what people do. This kind of stuff. Young people do this kind of stuff. I mean, it ain't right. We don't like to talk about it. I'm not saying it's right. I don't condone it. I don't condone it with my children, but I'm just trying to figure out the details. There's so much information about that I don't have. And I don't want to run with it just based upon what these two idiots, these two so-called grown folks. Again, this is just a travesty in my opinion. The fact that we can even see this, you're wrong for that.
To your grandmother, sending her $1 that said, F you, bitch. I didn't steal your shit. But there was $369 sent to a Cash App account in your name, right? So did you take the money or not? Who took the money? Who sent $369 to your account?
I did it.
You did it?
Oh, you didn't.
You did it or you did? You didn't do it? So who sent it? From your grandmother's phone.
I mean, clearly the young girl is lying about stuff. You know, clearly. But, you know, for me, I think it's better for your kids to, in the long run, like kids got to respect you. And they also have to, people say kids got to fear you. I think kids got to know that you'll take it there with them. They got to know that. I mean, it's important that kids know that you'll take it there with them if you have to. But I think ultimately the most important thing is kids got to respect you. And for parents out there, maybe younger parents, and you know, you were older in the game, you already know this, but kids watch what you do, not what you say. You can say a whole bunch of stuff. You should be an entrepreneur, own your own business. But if you ain't never started a business, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Like the best way for your kids to follow and become entrepreneurs is that you started a successful business or you started a business and you actually doing it. You can tell them all you want to. But until you actually do it and they see it, it's just some shit you're talking. The same thing with respects. I'm wondering what's happening in this household that would make this young girl, you know, react this way. I'm just telling you, these are my thoughts.
I have my Gigi's phone.
To your account. Who sent it?
How would I get into her account without her phone?
So you didn't change the passwords to your Gigi's business account?
I changed her.
Count that 306 head. You were put out for stealing her vibrators out of her nightstand, right? You didn't do that either, right?
No.
Yeah, you did.
Right.
Yeah, you did.
Stole some fucking dildos.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, you
I
did.
didn't.
I just don't like the stepmom. I'm going to be honest with you. Every time she opens her mouth, I get pissed off. And, okay, let's say the young girl stole some dildos. Okay, safe sex. I mean, I'm not all that upset. My biggest issue would be lying about it rather than what it is. I'm like, oh, we can go buy you something. That's what you really need. That's safe sex. I mean, she's a young woman. Maybe she's, you know, learning about herself. I don't get it. But I think they're more upset with the lie. Because I would be more upset with the lie than what you actually stole, at least in that instance.
Yes, you did.
But it's just something about the stepmother's voice that just irritate me. Every time she open her mouth, I just want her to shut the hell up. Is it just me?
Screenshot to that too, boo.
Okay.
Oh, and it will be on your
All right,
page soon.
now watch this. Because that's something that's not a lie. Right? So you told me that your auntie gave you the iPhone that was found underneath your bed at Tabby's house, right? Did she give it to you?
It wasn't her phone.
Whose phone was it? Auntie Shantae.
That was just the only thing I could think about.
Oh, so you were ready to lie, right?
I didn't steal a phone from her.
So you lied about who you got it from, right? And you're lying about who you stole it from, because it's Cameron's phone.
No, it's not Cameron.
Yes, it is. We can get Javante on the line,
I
too.
talked to Cameron the other day, and she knows that it's not her phone.
Okay. All right, Trinity. You also didn't call the little boy out in Alabama when I asked you, right? Didn't you tell me that you didn't call him?
What do you mean, Alabama?
The same day. Whatever the little boy's name was, you called from Michaela's phone. That her mother had to talk to you about. You told me you didn't do that too, right? Right? But did you? So that means you lied, right? So you pick and choose what you want to tell the truth about, right?
I never said I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay. All right.
Life of Rhea. Yeah, you lame as hell for even entertaining this one right here. She ain't no true friend. I don't know why you riding or die for this one. Because she ain't.
Now, what does a grown woman look like responding to children on social media? What the hell? I mean, I'm not saying that these parents don't have a legitimate reason to be upset with this girl. Obviously they do. She's got a long list of stuff that she's getting into. But again, the more they talk, the more I think that they are a part of the problem.
Hey, she don't give a shit about you or nobody but her damn self, and she don't even care about her damn self.
Yes, I do.
Look at her. Look at her.
So how does if she's got a problem with not caring about herself, that's a self-esteem issue. How does this help her build her self-esteem? Does this make the situation better or worse? If you're a parent, you should always be about trying to make the situation better, looking at the long run. How does this build her self-esteem? I just can't imagine doing this to my daughter now. We have confronted her on some stuff that we thought wasn't right. I ain't overreact about it. I was more concerned about making sure that she had an understanding of the gravity of what she was doing and giving her the real about it. And giving her the real, like, here are the consequences that you're going to have to deal with. Are you aware of them? If you are, okay, buddy, it's all good. It's your life. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I think you should do. And here's what I see coming. Now, if you decide you want to go down that route, okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. But like I told you, I'm not going to the courts. I ain't going to the jail. I ain't bailing you out. If one of my children, I'm telling you, they can hear me right now. I keep telling them, they better understand. You do some dumb ish, daddy won't be there. Now, your mama might go down there, but I ain't coming to the courts. I ain't getting no lawyer. You do all of that. You want to be an arch criminal? You want to run around steal stuff? Okay, buddy. I can't stop you. But when the ish hit the fan, I'll holler at you. I ain't writing no letters. I ain't coming down there holding your hand crying with you. I ain't doing none of that. Now, if you get caught up in the game, as I said before, and it's not your fault, or you had to do something you had to do, or it's mistaken identity, I'll ride to the end for you. But I ain't holding your hand while you do dumb ish. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I get that part of it. But check out the rest of it.
Take the bun out, because you look crazy. Take the whole bun out.
This
What
ain't
difference
what
does that
somebody
make?
real look like. This is not what somebody who real look like. Because she can't even look in the live and tell y'all what the motherfucking business is. Did you call my wife a fat ass bitch yesterday? You did? Are you ready to handle that?
No.
What kind of man does that? That's a weak ass man. Why are you even bringing that up? She's a child. Let's say she's 18. Okay, so she's legal, but she is a child essentially. You in your 40s and 50s. You in your late 30s. You're twice her age. Did you notice? So you can tell that the young girl don't like the stepmother because she denied a lot of stuff. But she wanted stepmom to know she said that and how she feel about it. I'm telling you, that's part of the problem. I can see right through it right now. That's part of the problem. And then you put your hands on her? Man, I'd be willing to bet. Now, there's some women out there that's about it though. But I'd be willing to bet that if that grown woman was in the streets and another grown woman said the same thing that her stepdaughter said, she ain't gonna run and put her hands on her. That's weakness to me. And then what kind of man are you ready to handle that business? What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? I'm looking at this dude, so you telling me if I rolled up on you and called you or whatever to your face, you gonna put your hands on me? You might. There's some dudes about that business, but it's a lot of dudes that take advantage of people weaker than them. That's weakness right now. Look at this situation right here.
Get her ass.
No wonder she ran away. I'll run away too.
Get your ass in the house. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Sit the fuck down. Sit your motherfucking ass down. Sit your ass down.
Shut up and stop. Sit your ass down.
Oh yeah. You ain't no gangster now.
Get up. Get up and sit in there. What you gonna do? What the fuck you gonna do?
Get away.
What you gonna do?
Get away from me.
Come on now. Now, listen, we only seeing one side of it. There's obviously another side to this young woman. But are you telling me that what you just saw was justified? I don't believe it. I don't believe it was justified. And what kind of man is going to let a stepmother put hands on his child for what you just saw? Now, obviously, this is a long history here, so I want to be fair to these so-called parents. And I do mean so-called, but come on now, really? No wonder she running away. No wonder she got all kind of behavior issues. She living with that. She living with that.
I'm about to call the police on you.
Are you
Call
gonna call the
them, nigga.
police? Call them.
Call him.
So they can take your motherfucking ass to motherfucking foster care.
You let me do that
Call
again.
them. Call them.
They ain't even gonna take her in foster care because she done did too much. You won't even get accepted.
Going to fucking jail. Don't even fucking know.
I can't even watch no more of this, man. I mean, you got the gist of it, family. You got the gist of what's happening. I saw it over the weekend. It just turned my stomach. I blame the adults. And I don't like the stepmother. I don't like her one bit. It's just something about her voice, her attitude. Something ain't right there. I'm not saying this young woman didn't, have some things to answer for. I mean, obviously you got some things she got to answer for, but come on now. This is what you're doing? What kind of weak ass man allows this ain't even the biological parent of your child, right? To put hands on your kids like that. That's a weak man, period. That's a weak ass man. I would say it to his face, what are you gonna do? Now some kids, some people about he might take a shot at my chin. I doubt it. I doubt that's weakness right there. That's what that is. That's just my opinion. People are saying the young lady needs counseling. I mean, yeah, if everything they said was true, obviously she's acting out and there's a lot of stuff going on. Something's going on with her mother. Every kid is different. Like some kids will react differently than other kids would if they don't have a parent in their life. Like some kids without a father, they come out okay on the surface. Other kids without a father is severe. You know what I'm saying? I think it depends on the entire family circle, but I really blame the adults. I blame you. You showed me a kid that's got problems. You go home, probably got problems in the home. Probably got problems with mom or dad. And is it just me? That stepmother got issues. She got issues. If I was a stepfather, and let's say my stepson said something crazy like that, called me a fat B. Okay, I ain't got to put my hands on him. That's how you feel. I'm disrespected. You disrespect me. I'm going to say something. But these are for enemies. That shit ain't your enemy. These are for enemies, not for some kid that says something crazy. And you my stepchild? Come on, man. This is crazy. This is crazy world. Is it COVID? They've been quarantined too long. That is abuse. I feel for that young girl. Despite everything they're saying about her, she got all these issues and yada, yada, yada. I got it. But you're the mom and the dad. You the parents. You know what I'm saying? You should be doing better. Let me move on here. 513-873-7134. I just want to stop right there, family. I got more I want to share with you this morning, including let's talk about Daniel Prude. Let's talk about Daniel Prude up in Rochester. Daniel Prude was a black man who died after officers violently detained him while he was having a mental health emergency. And one thing I never understand with these stories, because for me, if I was a mayor of a city, if I was a police chief, if I was in a position where I was in a position of authority over, law enforcement, when I see the mistakes that other cities have made, I would put something in place before it happens to my city. I just don't get it. It's like over and over again, we hit these cities and there's somebody that dies in custody. Afterward, they want to start to rethink policy and rethink this and rethink that. If it were me, I think they should do that beforehand. Why are you waiting? Like if you see the city of Cincinnati have some issues, why wait until it gets to your city to adopt some of the reforms? Why not do it beforehand and get out ahead of it? Maybe they do that, maybe they don't. But in this case, now you got the mayor of Rochester, a black female mayor, Mayor Lovely Warren, who says that the city is now doubling its availability of mental health professionals while the police are reviewing its policies in response because people have hit the streets once again. Once again. Rochester, New York now. And hundreds of people hit the streets in Rochester to let their voices be heard over the death of this brother who died in custody. And then people are saying it might have been a little bit of a cover-up. Let me play some of the audio, some of the video for you, and then you can give me a sense of what you think, actually happened. And just to make sure we're all on the same page this morning, because it happened again. And this is from the body cam. This is edited body cam, but this is from the body cam family. Let's see if we can pull this up.
Yes,
Check this out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you can take your mask off.
One male in custody.
Sue the shit out you. Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Tell me better not say shit to me. Look.
Stay there, man. Stay there.
Man, get the fuck on with that mask in the blue. I mean that. Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Are you Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Daniel Prude?
Please let me get my money.
Daniel Prude?
And jump on the flight. Please. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, I pray. Amen. Let me eat some shit. This shit on my fingers, bro.
253.
You take the gloves off.
Right
Put your glove on.
Katie and
I'm going to
Jeff.
sue your ass.
He was,
Give me them gloves, man.
he was like
Please.
lifting the garbage can.
One of y'all smoke.
I saw him like run across the. He almost got hit by a car
I'm gonna
too.
lick this shit. In Jesus Christ, I pray, amen.
All
Thank you,
He
Lord.
found the tow truck.
Tell
driver.
me
He had
better not say
coronavirus.
shit to me.
I'm in the MHA.
Yeah.
Hey, who car is that?
Yeah.
Who car is that up in the post and shit? In Jesus Christ, I pray, amen. I got shit on my finger. I can't help it because my brother is the same. Let me go, man. I got blood on my stomach, on my dick out. Put it on my toes till I get the key. Give me the gun, then. Or I'm finna sue your ass. Give me the gun. Get the fuck away from me. Please, let me post this shit on Facebook. Take your head and then give me them keys. I mean that I'm Jesus Christ.
You don't want what he's got.
Look at
He's
this
got something
blood.
better.
Look at my big dick. Look at my big dick. Look at my balls. I got shit on my head. Get the fuck away from me. Give me your gun. I need it. Give me your gun. I need it. School crazy as hell. Give me your gun. I need it, man.
I
Please.
just grabbed him with my.
I mean that.
Yeah. Well,
Now, again,
That's
I mean,
right.
as you can tell, there's some extreme language. I've got it up on the screen there. I want to give you a heads up. This is the body cam footage of Daniel Prude, who actually died after police officers restrained him, and they put a spit hood over his head. And officers use this when they're dealing with people, especially during COVID-19, when they're dealing with people that might be wanting to spit bodily fluids at them. It's very, very graphic, as you can see. And it's a mesh bag that they put over his head. But let me jump forward in the video a little bit so you can see this, because, at some point, you can see him. Check this out.
The fuck is Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
you guys get the dirty out for us, please.
Get off me. Give me the gun. Give me the gun. I mean, take this on my face. I believe this. I believe this.
Stop spitting. You hear me? Stop spitting. Stop spitting.
Give me the ball.
Well, at least we know who broke the window.
Now, a local newspaper up there reported that Daniel Prude's death was due to asphyxiation. And it immediately has drawn a lot of comparisons to the death of George Floyd. And in the video, I won't play all of it. I played probably way too much, but in the video, you can clearly see officers are putting like a knee, not on his neck, but like in his back and things like that. And as I understand it, that's how they're trained. If I'm wrong about that, set me straight. The RPD, that's the Rochester Police Department Investigative Action Report, dated April 27th, says that the actions of the officers dealing with Daniel Prude appear to be appropriate and consistent with training. And the Attorney General up there is still investigating the deaths. The officers are on active duty and did not face discipline. No discipline to this point for the officers. So people are upset about that, to the point where people have hit the streets up in Rochester. And then I read that as a response to people hitting the streets, that they got hit with chemical irritant. Daniel Prude was from Chicago. He was having a mental health episode, clearly. His family has called it, used the word lynching. Lynching. Quote, that was a lynching. That was cold-blooded murder. My brother was a loving individual. He was a likable guy and a damn good brother. He made people laugh. He brought people joy. He didn't deserve what happened to him. And of course, there are now protests, justice for Daniel Prude. People are saying that the death is unacceptable. They're looking for answers. There's a GoFundMe page to help Prude's family, who says that he's experiencing a mental health crisis. We'll keep our eyes on it. There's a hashtag, Color of Change is involved as well. You can text the word Daniel to 55156 to get more information and to help the family. Looks like some people are mobilizing up there around this death. It's a damn shame. The damn shame. It really is. And again, I mean, that's the most information that I have at this point, family. I can't tell you anything more. I mean, I'm in Cincinnati. That's what's being reported here. But what do you know about Daniel Prude, and what do you think? I guess the critique is that even though he was having a mental health episode and even though he was spitting, people are like, well, it doesn't take 3 or 4 officers putting their body weight on him to subdue an unarmed man, and that they should have not put as much weight on him and he would still be alive today. That's essentially what I've been hearing. But if the officers come back and the defense is, well, hey, you know, we only get so much mental health training. We've heard it all before. And these are the tools in the toolbox that we've been given to this point. What do you want me to do? That's the same thing that Bruce Hoffbauer said. Well, we didn't have tasers back then, and there's only so much I could do, and I had to shoot this man and kill him. You tell me. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Good morning to you. It's real out here. It's real out here. TNT writes psychological and verbal abuse. You talking about the young girl? Yes, I agree so. I mean, like I said, I've had some very little medium Buddha has done some things that we thought was not, it was a step in the wrong direction for her age. And we showed our emotion. And I'm not above physically punishing my children. I'm not above that. But I reserve that for when I think that it's necessary. And typically that's something that I can see them about to fall off a cliff, something like that. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. Not because I get in my feelings because she disrespected me. You know what I'm saying? That's not why my children are here. They're not here to succumb to my every whim and how dare you say something I don't like and now I'm going to put my hands on you. It makes me wonder how the parents of that young girl, Trinity, it makes me wonder how they were raised. Because like I said, when she called her stepmother a fat B, and then the way the father set it up, he set it up like it was a wrestling match or something. Like you ready to handle it like you in the streets. I just don't believe on treating my son and my daughter and my son as I would somebody in the streets. They're not. You ready to handle that? You ready to handle that? No, of course she ain't ready. She about to fight a grown ass woman. And then this woman comes over and then hits her. So my thing is, if the young girl is at least 18, that's abuse. That's an assault, right? Legally, isn't that an assault? And if the young girl is younger than 18, then that's abuse, in my opinion. That's just how I look at it, straight up abuse. And they kept saying foster home, foster home. That means she must be a minor. She must be a minor. So that means that the stepmom, how dare you call me out my name? And you're going to treat this young girl the way you might treat some chick in the streets. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. No. I mean, you're going to be upset. You're going to correct them. They're going to have to explain themselves. They're going to be consequences, but hands on a child? Nah. I don't see it. Nat writes, who would let a step parent treat their child like that? Sake of my damn head. Right. It just goes to show you he's a weak man. That's a weak man right there. Any man that would allow a stepmother, some chick you just married for you, because she make you feel good, right? In that scenario, I'm not saying it can never be a scenario where a step parent can physically discipline a child. I mean, that's up to them. But in that scenario right there, hell no. Hell no. What I look like? You better put them paws up. You better get ready for that work. Huh? Then the girl runs out and he drags her back in. They shut the door. What is this? You know, what you about to do to her? No wonder she's running away. She don't want to be in the house with you no more. No wonder. That's weakness. I'm so over family members recording family members and posting on social media. Me too. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what's the purpose in doing that? Who are you doing that for? Are you doing that to show other people like we told you Trinity was a problem? Nobody cares. We don't care. Who you doing this for? Who you trying to impress? That's bad parents right there. Jason writes, intervention. What's up, Jason? He writes, embarrassing. Miss Jones writes, this is so hurtful. It was so hurtful. You know, I felt some kind of way just even playing a video because I don't want to promote it. But if I can talk about it as a bad example, then maybe so. We can reach one parent out there because everybody's got different level of parenting skills. I feel it. I respect it. But that right there is straight up abuse. I don't respect it one bit. And as a man, as a father, I don't respect how that man was dealing with it. Now, I can't tell that man how to raise his kids because I'm not prepared to take care of Trinity. That's on him. But when you put things on social media, that means you put it in the what? The court of public opinion. And when you put in the court of public opinion, the public is going to give you their opinion. This is my opinion about it. I think he's a weak-ass man. I blame him. If he's this weak on video, how weak is he as a man when he's not on video? What else is he doing? What else is he doing? Like, I didn't play it, but at the beginning of the video, he goes in this like 2-minute thing talking about the girl's mother and she ain't ish and where she at, she raggedy, she can get it too. And then you wonder why the girl might have self-esteem issues because the mother is a part of her. Sad. Tony writes, I was done when he dragged her back in the garage and started dancing. FG writes, I can't watch. I'll be back, shaking my head. If she is touching children, someone is touching her. Facts. Facts. And good morning, Jordan and FG and Tony. Facts on facts on facts on facts. That's what I thought too. And there was something earlier in the video where the girl accused the stepmother. And from just reading the woman's voice, I believe what the girl, I can't remember what it was, but I believe it was true because it was just some of the way the stepmother responded sound fake to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Target. The little girl said something that was true. See, sometimes people do some F stuff to you because they want to cover up the F stuff that they've done. That happens a lot with people. Sometimes people, even with children, they'll try to do some F stuff, right, to the other person to cover up what they've been doing. I don't trust none of them. Shanice writes, I can't even stand it when family members post subliminal shade about each other. But this, I'm so sick of. This video should have been shared if sharing was that deep with family, not the public, right? Again, I'm just trying to figure out how this makes it better. It's not going to stop her from lying. It's not going to stop her from stealing phones. It's not going to stop her from, being curious about her own sexuality. It's not going to stop her from not liking her stepmother. It's not going to make her respect her father anymore. It's not going to make her want to be in the house anymore. What does it solve? This bad parenting. Tanika writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Good morning to you. TNT writes, to do this to her is wrong and the type of stuff that makes kids commit suicide. Tanika writes, my blood was boiling watching this video. It's sickening. Diane writes, these parents are out of order. Seek help for the child if something did occur. Stephen writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Good morning to you. Fame's in the house. He writes, good morning. Shanice writes, yeah, something happened to her, and they're focused more on being mad on what she did wrong than tapping into the root of her behavior. And I agree with that. That's a great way of putting it, Shanice. Right. That's exactly what they're doing. They're more caught up in their own personal outrage than what the girl is dealing with. That's the root cause of it. And we do that a lot. That's what the city of Cincinnati is doing right now when it comes up with gun violence. The mayor, the police chief, and I put this squarely on John Cranley because he's the mayor, he's the leader. He's more concerned with the perception that he's not losing control with the city of Cincinnati in terms of gun violence. So he wants to get tough on crime. We need more prosecutions. We need more attorneys on it, and less about dealing with the root crime. See, my challenge to John Cranley, and if I ever get a chance to interview him before he leaves office, it ain't going to be a good conversation. My challenge to him is that if he had did what the F he said he was going to do, which was try to lift kids out of poverty, the efforts in doing that, in my opinion, in some levels would have addressed the root issues of crime. And maybe we wouldn't be dealing on some levels what we're dealing with right now. But he didn't do that. He was just talking ish to get elected, then reelected, and never came through for the community. And now you want to get tough. Got too many guns. Got too much gun violence. We got too many disparities. We have too many inequities. That's what we have, John. Kevin Necessary, man, is going hard at John Cranley. He does political cartoons. See here. Hey, call me back. I'll put you straight on. I think that was Fame. Call me back. I'll put you straight on. I'm only here up until about 10 a.m. Then I got to make a move. Good morning to you. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. Back to your chat. Shanice writes, they need to ask her other serious questions, right? C. Smith writes, I don't care. Seems a little abusive. Hey, Nathan's in the house. He writes, good morning, all. Hey, Nathan is out there doing his thing on the range on Saturday. It was good to see you, bro. He was out there doing his thing. Good to see you. Jesse writes, the little girl needs help. She could have been molested by an adult. Right. You show me a kid is acting out like that, the first question I have is, what happened to you? That's the first question. My kids come home, they having bad days. My first issue is, what happened today? What happened? Because you ain't just doing this for no reason. There's a reason behind your actions, right? We do that way too much with children is we automatically want to go to punishment. Punishment, you're bad, you're bad. No. These are God's sweet children. You know what I'm saying? It's the experiences, generally speaking, that shape them and shape their behaviors. That's just the way I look at it. And I just couldn't believe what I saw. C. Smith writes, where is the mama? OMG, apparently mom's got some issues, so she's like out of the picture. And unfortunately, this little girl has an evil stepmother. It's like straight out of Cinderella. Shanice says the same thing. I agree with it. She's saying it over and over this morning. Something happened to this young lady. I agree. Something happened to her. TNT writes, they both some punks. I hate bullies. Right. What do I look like bullying a kid? What do I look like bullying a child? My child. It ain't happening. It ain't going down that way. Jordan writes, so what they doing off camera? That's my thing. That's my question, Jordan. If they're doing this on camera, if they got so much gall to do this on camera, can you imagine what they doing off camera? Can you imagine what they saying to this girl off camera? Because they was probably holding back. And how do you look as a man? How do you look yourself in the mirror and you allowing a woman that you married to abuse your child in this way? I can't do it. I ain't with it. I don't understand it. Tanika just all tears. Good morning, Tanika. I can't get it. She writes, this is horrible. It is. Pat writes, I cannot watch. You know what? Again, I'm a media guy. So in the interest of putting the conversation out there, I want to play a lot of it. Plus the videos everywhere. It's inside the Friends page. It's on a lot of Facebook pages. Some people choose to not share this kind of stuff. But I want to make a point this morning. I want to draw a line in the sand between good parenting and bad parenting. A clear line in the sand. That's bad parenting right there. And I blame the father. You're the head of the household. You set the tone for the household. You know what I'm saying? That woman would not be doing that to your biological child if you didn't allow it to happen. You know, men got to step up. What do I look like marrying a woman that's I'm going to stand back and let you abuse my child? It ain't happening like that. It's never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be dead. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's bad parenting, straight up. TNT writes, Lil Scrappy and T.I. was saying the same thing. They wish that dude would step to them on Instagram. Right. Like I said, when I see people being bullied, I think to myself, I bet they wouldn't do that to me. You're out here talking all super tough to a kid. If a grown man stepped to you and called and said some crazy stuff, so what you going to do? What you going to do? You gonna smack them? Mm-hmm. Some will now. Don't give me credit. There's some guys out there that go on your chin like that. It don't care who it is. It is what it is. But a lot of these dudes out here, and you see me abusing people who's weaker than them, not as strong as them, that's straight up cowards. Straight up cowards. They ain't going to bust a grape. They ain't going to say nothing. They're going to try to get the hell out of there real quick. Talking about, what you call your stepmama? Are you ready to deal with that? What? What? No. And a little girl, the way she reacted, she could tell like she'd been in that scenario before. I can't see it, man. Little Scrappy and T.I. Yeah, because, you know, as a parent, it makes your blood boil. You want to do something about it. Janet writes, that girl didn't get that way overnight and she's running from something. The stepmother has no connection with her and clearly wants her out of the house. The father is weak and regret how he is handling her later in life. Yeah, he will. He will. Because a weak ass man is really going to slip on his own banana peels. His actions today is going to set him up for the future and what he has to deal with. I just can't imagine it. I'm not doing that with nobody's kids, or let alone my own. Let me just here to tell you, I'm not letting somebody else's kids go out like that. You ain't gonna do that around me. It ain't happening, Captain. Either you leaving the situation or I'm leaving the situation. I ain't gonna be around that. You can't do that around me with no children. It just can't happen. And we ain't telling no jokes like that either. It ain't funny. Miss Jones writes, this is so sad on so many levels. I'm praying for this young lady. I'm with you, Nate. That's stepmom. No. She said, my house. Is she paying the cost to be the boss? Question mark. Stepmom is obviously running the show. No, get her. Dad is spineless and sounds like he married her for a place to live. I can't. She read into it, but dad is spineless. That's a weak man. And she got to know he weak. That's the other thing about it. She don't respect him. How's she gonna respect him and he's letting her do this? She don't respect him. Sarah he and I are on the same boat. He writes, nah, I ain't having it. Nah, it ain't even plausible. It ain't even feasible. It ain't even conceivable. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even conceivable. Tony writes, all I can say is better sleep with one eye open with her in the house. That's some throat slitting motivation right there. Tony, I thought the same thing. She all cowering in fear. Now, when she get a pistol and y'all wake up in the afterlife, it'll be wrong, but we'll know where she's coming from. We'll know where the little girl's coming from. You know what I'm saying? The way you treat people, it's going to come back to you, homie. It's going to come back to you, especially your kids. K.R. Mitchell writes, disgusting. Charles writes, the whole exchange was some BS. The child will never forget this incident and will hate the stepmom and resent her dad for allowing the weak issue to occur all day long. I know I would. I know I would. We ain't having it. Daryl writes, hello, Nate. Didn't think you were on today. Well, typically I don't do the holidays, but I just want to come with you just for a little while today. I'm about to roll out here in about 7 minutes just to talk about a few topics and stay in connection with you and give you some early morning conversation. Let me move on here. I've been talking about numerous things. I want to hit everything this morning. I want to talk about local politics. And I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the Hamilton County Commissioner's race. And I have been preparing myself on multiple levels. I mean, one as a moderator and also as a voter, because I plan on voting in the election to get as much information as possible about the candidates for Hamilton County Commissioners, because I think all the races are important, but this race in Hamilton County is really, really important. It's really, really important because you only got 3 Hamilton County Commissioners, and you need a majority to get anything done. And right now there is 3 Democrats, and I like checks and balances. I like having checks and balances when the checks and balances are being done for the sake of the electorate and for the people. I like that. And in this case, you've got Alicia Reese, who emerged victorious from the Hamilton County Commissioner's primary. And then you got a man named Andy Black, who's a white male Republican. As I said, I try to give everybody a fair shake. I want to hear what you have to say before I criticize you. But when I saw this piece that was written about 8 days ago I take that back. It was written about 8 days ago by Andy Black. Here's the headline: Opinion, Alicia Reese missing in action on key issues in Hamilton County. Okay, I'm like, okay, well, Andy Black, I don't know a lot about him. Hope to interview him really soon. Hey, Mr. Black, if you're listening, or Alex Trientafilu or whoever, I'll be reaching out. And I did learn more about him just reading this piece here. And I have to be honest with you. I was disappointed with Andy Black in this opinion piece. Because in this opinion piece, Andy Black did the same thing, made the same mistake that I thought that Bruce Hoffbauer made, and the same mistake that Alex Glendorf made. Alex Glendorf running against Avtab Pureball for clerk of courts. And these 3 white male Republican candidates, that's part of fact, they all make the same mistake. And the mistake is criticizing their opponent instead of focusing on what the F you're going to do. And Andy Black made the same mistake in his opinion piece. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first 8 paragraphs is all some dumb-ish written by Andy Black. Where and again, I'm starting to pick up on what the Republicans' talking points are in Hamilton County. They want to talk about dumb-ish. They want to talk about dumb-ish. We heard this from Bruce Hoffbauer. We heard this from Alex Glendorf. We're hearing it now. I'm reading it now from Andy Black. They want to talk about people's safety reimagined, which didn't even get enough votes to get on the ballot, so it's irrelevant. I think the overall conversation about reimagining how we fund the police is still relevant. But that particular movement is DOA for this election year. They might pick back up next year or something like that, but for this year, it's DOA. They didn't get enough signatures. So when I hear Bruce Hoffbauer talking about it, and I hear Alex Glendorf talking about it, and I read Alex Black talking about this, I'm like, why are you talking about something that's not even relevant anymore? But the talking point for Hamilton County Republican candidates is trying to force the Democrats to take a side when it comes to the whole defund the police conversation, which, how does that even impact the Hamilton County commissioners? He spends the first 5, 6 paragraphs talking about dumb-ish that doesn't even matter, speaking about Andy Black, and trying to set the narrative for Alicia Reese in terms of what she's been talking about and what her platform is. And again, I'm not endorsing candidates. I'm just giving you my honest viewpoint. As a voter, I want to hear what you're going to do. I'm less concerned about your focus group tested critiques of your candidates. That's for Democrats and Republicans, unless you're an incumbent. Now, if you're an incumbent, you open to all of it. But like I told Alice Glandorf, I want to hear substance, not just your BS. Your focus group tested BS. You think it works over on 700 WOW and all this other kind of stuff. It's not going to fly here. Let me read some of this because it's the dumbest ever. This is what you're doing with your time, Alex. Andy, it's just a waste of time in my opinion. It said, in June, we watched as what began as peaceful protests turned into riots, widespread destruction, and lawlessness. Businesses already hurt by COVID-19 were literally shattered further, and police officers became the target of violent attacks. And on top of that, a recent effort this month to not just defund, but eliminate the Cincinnati Police Department, an outside group with support from members of Cincinnati City Council was able to collect thousands of signatures. Why is Andy Black talking about what members of City Council did and think? You're not running for City Council. You're running for Hamilton County Commissioner. But that's the narrative of the local Republican Party. They want to cast, and again, I'm not picking sides, I'm just giving you my opinion. They want to cast Democrat candidates as do nothing. What they really want to do is to try to cast, they want to tie Alicia Reese to the so-called lawlessness that was in the streets. That's what they're trying to do. That's what Alice tried to do with Avtab Porball. That's what Bruce Hoffbauer tried to do with Charmaine McGuffey. Well, she down there talking with the same people that's tearing this up. I'm less concerned with that, and I'm less impressed with that. I'd be more impressed with what you're going to do. And quite honestly, point in fact, it's all just lies. He writes, to this day, we have no idea where Reese stands on the issue of defunding the police, and we don't give a damn. And she's running for Hamilton County Commissioner. Who cares what she thinks about it? Now, I'm interested in what she thinks about the larger conversation about getting equity policy intangibles for our community, about her reaction to the death of George Floyd. I'm curious about that, very curious. I'll ask her about that. But why does she have to ask? Why does she have to answer a question just because you asked it? We saw the same thing with Alex. She refused, but her long history of opposing law enforcement should raise some serious questions. So he goes on in this op-ed piece trying to say that, and again, the headline is Alicia Reese missing in action on key issues in Hamilton County. But I'm not sure that's true. In fact, I know it's not true. Because Alicia Reese, in her op-ed piece, she's on point. She spent the time talking about how she's qualified, what she's going to do, what her plans are, what her pillars are. That's what you should be doing. In fact, as I read this, I don't think she even mentions Andy Black whatsoever. Great. Why would she spend any time talking about her opponent and what he is or is not? She should define her own narrative. And clearly, in her piece, she says she was focused on one Hamilton County. She's focused on the following issues for Andy Black: public health, economic health, democracy health. Now, I can get into the blurbs here. You can read it for yourself. Public health, economic health, democracy health. Those all seem like relevant and serious issues to me, Andy Black. Meanwhile, you're running around talking about her. What's the motto of the show? Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. Andy Black is acting like a loser. He's focusing on Alicia Reese. Andy, you should be focusing on telling us on what your pillars are going to be. Make it simple. Give us 3 pillars of what you are, why you're running. What are you going to do? Other than just, you're against the Bengals deal. We all against the Bengals deal. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do concretely? Again, winners focus on winning. I see Alicia Reese is focusing on winning. She's focused on what I'm going to do with the electorate. Andy Black is focused on Alicia Reese. I got the same thing when I talked to Bruce Hoffbauer. Bruce Hoffbauer is running around talking about Charmaine McGuffey. trying to make her look bad. Tremaine McGuffey is talking with the community about what she's going to do if she's elected. I got the same thing when I talk to Abtab Pourval and Alex Glandorf. Alex Glandorf's running around talking about Abtab Pourval. Abtab Pourval is telling you what he's done since he's been in office. Am I wrong in this? So I see what the Hamilton County candidates Republican strategy playbook is, and it's some dumb-ish. Y'all need to get focused on the people. Like I said, I'm less concerned about your critiques of the other person, and I'm more concerned. If you want to earn my vote, then tell me what you're going to do. How you going to do it? Convince me that your plan is the right plan and that you are the person that can effectively execute it. But run around talking about what you think about your opponent. I mean, that's the Trump playbook. And I think these Republicans are making a mistake because that worked for Trump once. It doesn't mean it's going to trickle down and work for you here in Hamilton County. We too smart for that. It's a wrap on the dumbish in the 2020 election. I mean, clear as day. I'm on her op-ed piece. I read through it several times. She don't mention Andy Black. You know why? Because he's irrelevant. She's running her race. Meanwhile, Andy Black is trying to convince us that we don't know Alicia Reese and that we didn't just read her op-ed piece in which she told us what the issues were. Because you run around here talking about people's safety reimagined, which is irrelevant this year. Now, that might be coming back. I would suspect it's not the last time we heard it. But for this election cycle, irrelevant. You answer any questions about something that's irrelevant that's not going to happen. It's a waste of freaking time. It's a waste of time. But again, I guess this plays well with the WOW crowd and the 55 KRC crowd. Yeah. That's because they want you to be afraid. These Republicans are straight up fear mongering. Oh, they want to do away with the police. And then these black kids are going to come up from the city and steal everything you worked so hard for. We see right through you. You need to stop. You need to get on point. It's not going to work. Let me see. And, again, I'm not picking sides here, but from what I do my homework. From what I see in terms of qualifications, one of the candidates is way more qualified to be Hamilton County Commissioner than the other. One has been doing the work and delivering tangibles and policy, and the other just is running. The other worked in the private industry, and now the Republican Party feel like they got a good person to run against for that office, and that's about it. There's no real public record here, and in terms of what I'm reading, I mean, I ain't really impressed. Like I said, I mean, I would invite people to go back to both of those candidates' websites and kind of read more about their platform. But in terms of that op-ed piece, it was severely disappointing. Severely disappointing. Like, didn't Andy Black have anybody to proofread that for him? Had he read that past me, I would have told him, like, this is some dumbish, Andy. You need to go back and focus on what you're going to do and less about trying to snipe at your so-called opponent. Because she out here talking with the people and coming up with real plans. And you're out here talking about, well, she didn't answer the question about people's safety reimagined because nobody cares about the answer, Andy. Nobody cares. But you and Alex and the other people on 55 KRC or something like that, I guess. A waste of time. Phenomenal waste of time. You had an opportunity, Andy, and you blew it. I'm here to tell you. Alex Triantafilo didn't tell you. The other minions in the Republican Party didn't tell you. I'm not sure if you're married or not, but if you are, your wife didn't tell you. But I'm telling you, that was a waste of an op-ed piece. You had an opportunity to connect with people, and you blew it. You blew it. But I bet he was like, oh, yeah, this is hot fire right here. I got that hot fire. Oh, wait till I put this in the Inquirer. I got that hot fire. Knock it off. We are not the 55 WKRC crowd, and you can lull us to sleep with a bunch of stupid ish. We ain't going for it. We ain't having it. I got that hot fire. I got that hot fire. You got that hot garbage. Hey, Andy, if the Inquirer gives you another opportunity to do an op-ed piece, focus on what you're going to do. Focus on your plans. Focus on your policy initiatives. Don't write ish about your candidate, your opponent whatsoever. Just focus on what you're going to do. Okay, I'm going to give you some free advice here. And there's nobody out there in the political world that's going to tell me I'm wrong. Even Alex Triantafilou is going to tell me I'm right. I keep saying Alex because he's the head. That's my good buddy Alex. He's the head of the Hamilton County Republican Party. Let me see here. TNT writes, he was having a mental breakdown and needs help. He's talking about brother Daniel Pruitt. He did. Like I said, my biggest issue with law enforcement, if you're a leader, then you should not wait until there's a fire in your backyard until you start doing fire drills and start going over your fire drill procedures. Similarly, you should not wait until there's a shooting that might bring people to the streets before you start rethinking your policies and procedures and dealing with people who are dealing with a mental health crisis. It is inexcusable, and I ain't having it. It's inexcusable because we've seen these instances too many times. Leadership gets out in front of issues. You don't wait until you now are dealing with it. That's what leadership does all day. You're sitting around figuring out what could happen and what do we need to do. That's part of it anyway, right? Because if not, we can get somebody else to be in leadership. In 2020, it's unacceptable when you have these police forces, these police law enforcement agencies, and they're like, oh, we got to rethink our mental health policy. You haven't already done this? What are you waiting for? Oh, you're waiting for it to happen in your city so the people of your city can hit the streets and then force you to do it. That's bad leadership. That's bad leadership. Like fire drills. Most responsible schools and organizations have fire drills before there's a fucking fire, right? You have tornado drills before there's a freaking tornado drill. You don't wait. What's the usefulness in doing it afterward? And that's what these law enforcement agencies keep doing. Like, oh, we got to rethink our policy now that somebody's dead. And they come up with stuff that other cities have already put in place. Do it first. Be a leader. Be a trendsetter. You know what I'm saying? Lead. Put it in place first. Be an industry leader. But no, they want to wait and drag ass and drag their feet until after somebody's dead, and then they're forced to do it. And then it's like, we put in police reforms, but now there's one or two people dead. Do it beforehand. Think ahead. It's not like you can't anticipate it because you got so much evidence of what's happening in other police departments. Like I told you, if I was a mayor of a city, if I was a police chief, every time I see something happen in another city, we're going to do a review of our own policies every single time. Could that happen here? Why would I wait until a citizen loses their life? Why would I wait until a member of law enforcement loses their life? That's bad leadership. That's whack-ass leadership, in my opinion. C. Smith writes, they've been suspended. Okay, they've been suspended now. Speaking of those officers up in Rochester. Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. Let me flash forward here. C. Smith writes, I just don't understand some parents. None of us are perfect, but geez, Louise, protect and defend from all threats, foreign and domestic. I know that's right. Exactly. Exactly. Stephen writes, the mayor failed to solve the issue of poverty. Now he's trying to enforce law and order. He ain't even tackle the issue of poverty. He didn't even tackle it. He talked about it. They put together a website. They put some people together in a room. Pardon me. They might have met a couple times. And I'm not saying that he could. I'm not saying that John Cranley could have. I'm a fair guy. I don't think that John Cranley could have tackled and solved the issue of poverty. But the efforts at doing it will lead Cincinnati, the serious, prolonged, sustained, well-funded, well-publicized public efforts to deal with that will put Cincinnati on the right track. That's all I'm saying. I don't expect magic. I don't expect magic in 2 terms. But I expect for you to do what you said you're going to do. I expect the effort. And that's a righteous effort that will lead Cincinnati in the right direction and dealing with the root causes. But, you know, politicians, they have to deal with public opinion and public outcry and things like that. So, and I'm not saying I don't think that listen, I believe that John Cranley cares about the city of Cincinnati. He's a family man. I'm sure he cares deeply about what's happening. But all I can do is respond to what I've seen. And I haven't seen enough from Mr. Cranley, in my opinion. And now he's going to go to a public office and tell us to vote for him because he's a Democrat over a Republican candidate. And it's just not going to work. Hey, Diane, good morning to you. She's on YouTube this morning. Tracy writes, his goal to sell the stadium, he isn't worried about helping people in the pandemic. Hashtag vote Alicia Reese, period. Tracy writes, what Nathan is reading is letting you know he's down with Law and Order too. I mean, just very disappointed with what I read. I read it like, damn. I mean, I went to just so you know, Andy Black, I haven't met you, I don't know you, but I went to that op-ed piece hoping to learn more about you. And I did. And it wasn't good. I blame Andy's campaign manager, whoever's running his campaign, I blame them. I blame whoever's in his campaign because I'm sure they read over it. And obviously, they do not have the right lens. If I was on Andy's campaign, I would have told him, don't focus on Alicia Reese. Focus on Andy Black. You know what I'm saying? Because Alicia Reese has a long track record. She's far more familiar than you are. We don't know you. So why would you get valuable real estate like the Cincinnati Enquirer allows you to do an op-ed piece and you spend the first 7-8 paragraphs writing about some dumb ish, not even using that time to talk about your record? I mean, just a colossal fail. I mean, take Alicia Reese out of it. Let's say it's whoever. All right. Big fail. You get that kind of valuable real estate as a candidate, you better be writing about yourself, about your plans, about what you plan on doing, about your vision. That's what's going to galvanize voters for you. Like, oh man, dang, he got a vision. Not a whole bunch of dumb ish about your opponent on an issue that don't even matter. I'll say it again. People Safety Reimagined, that they're irrelevant for 2020. They're irrelevant. They didn't get enough signatures. Why are we talking about them? I'm going to tell you why. Because the Republican Party, they went behind closed doors, and it's like, oh, hey, this is how we get this election. We're going to scare the hell out of white folks and suburbanites. And we're going to force the Democrats to talk about the whole defund the police thing. And we're going to cast ourselves as the heroes, and we support the police. Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, break. It's not going to work, fellas. It ain't going to work. You think that we're dumb. The electorate is not dumb. People are looking for equity, policy, and tangibles. They're looking for tangible ideas that will improve their life. Tangible ideas. And the whole fear-mongering, I mean, we've seen this from the national level with the GOP to the local level here. They must have gotten to a room together. I'm telling you, the Republican Party, I don't care what Drop says, because I'm on a few, let's say, email list, ever since my time at the RNC, and they are going nuts trying to get their dollars up and trying to get people to get out to vote for Donald Trump. I'm getting inundated with emails from all the Trumpsters, all the Trump talking heads, all of them. They running crazy trying to get the Republican base to come out and turn out for Donald Trump. And maybe they can see the writing on the wall. I don't know, perhaps. Hey, listen, family, that is my time. I really appreciate you. Hold on, what's this? Glenn writes, pandering to the last vestiges to the white West Side power structure in a blue city. Yeah, could be. Tracy writes, Andy Black, the mayor, the candidate for sheriff, all down with law and order. Fontella writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Pat writes, they are following Trump with the law and order bull. They are. It makes me wonder where the whole defund the police came from, because it seems like it's become a perfect political tool. I don't know if it's perfect now. It's become a tool, a very convenient tool by the GOP to run for. to run against. Oh, we law and order. Like, everybody's law and order. Everybody supports the police. Democrats support the police. Black folks support the police. Progressives support the police. Everyone supports the police. If you're a member of law enforcement, don't let them lie to you and tell you that black people don't support you. That's not true. We just don't support bad policing. Period. And I don't mean you made a small mistake. I mean you was on some Conan barbaric stuff, killed somebody, and you are unrepentant about it. Everybody makes mistakes. Like one of the biggest misconceptions about the black community as it relates to police is that the black community can't tell the difference between a righteous shooting and a bad shooting and a good shooting. We know. We open up the newspapers or go online and we see it like, damn, that brother was on some dumbish. Got what they had coming. We move on. Happens all the time. When there's a shooting involving black people and the police had to do what they had to do, you don't hear a peep out the black community. In fact, what you're going to hear is you'll see black people in the community say, hey, had to do what you had to do. No problems. Black people perfectly understand the difficulties of law enforcement. It's when the dumb ish happens under sketch circumstances and y'all want to tell us that we don't see what we actually see and try to play us like we stupid. That's when we fall out. Other than that, go do your job, homie. Go do your job. You don't hear nobody in the black community say a damn thing. Well, I can't speak in sweeping generalities like that because there's always outliers and the black community is not a monolith. I'm saying generally speaking, black people can tell the difference between real-ish and dumb-ish better than anybody else. So, again, you got some really bad forces out there in the media, on city council, representing the police that want to pit you against us. They want to tell you that we're against you. We're not against you. We support you 100%. And just like when private citizens do wrong, break rules, commit offenses, criminal offenses, and have to deal with it, same thing with law enforcement. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? But there are forces out there that love to pit people against each other. And they benefit out of it. Don't let them, family. Don't let them. Hey, listen, I got to make a move this morning. I'll be back with you and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. regular time slot, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Please share this because I've decided we're going to go live from the Nathan Ivey Show Facebook page, not my personal page moving forward. Really appreciate you. Have an excellent rest of your day, and we'll talk real soon. I'm out.